Now it's time to see who has the heart.
If you put your effort and concentration into playing to your potential, to be the best that you can be, I don't care what the scoreboard says at the end of the game, in my book, we're going to be winners.
This is your fight. Now go out there and take it.
This is a club that's going to hit you. They're going to try to hit you. You're going to take it out. Just hit, just run, just block, and just tackle. If you do that, there's no question what the answer's going to be in this ball.
Welcome to the Best of Tailgate Talk, where we go back into the archives and hear some of our special guests you may have missed the first time around. We'll be back with the Best of Tailgate Talk after this. Come see all your friends at Applebee's in Athens. 12 minutes guaranteed or it's free Monday through Friday, 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. 7 items to choose from. Can't make it for lunch? Visit them for happy hour, 3 p.m. to 7 p.m. or late night. Half-price appetizers with beverage purchase, 6 appetizers to choose from. Call 233-4430 or order online at Applebee's.com and pick your meal up with Carside to go. Applebee's Neighborhood Grill, Highway 72 in Athens, just off I-65. Eating good in the neighborhood. When things go wrong, State Farm is here to help life go right. And Agent Michael Howell is the one who can help get things back on track. See Michael for your auto, home, life, health, property, and business insurance, and be ready for those unexpected twists that life throws at you. Ask about banking and annuities, too. Call State Farm Agent Michael Howell at 232-5400. Visit him online at michaelhowell.net or go see him at 903 South Clinton Street in Athens. State Farm Agent Michael Howell. There when things go wrong, here to help life go right.
From day one, First National Bank has been built on a strong foundation of community first. First to lend a helping hand, first to help with community events and fundraisers, first to support local students, athletic programs, and civic organizations, first to support events like United Way, Relay for Life, and many more charitable events, and most importantly, working for our great community. Without you, there'd be no First National Bank. Making communities great together, that's what we strive for.
Equal Housing Lender, member FDIC. If your place on the water needs some attention, call BP Riverworks. Boathouses, docks, seawalls, and repairs. Call Barron Pugh at 251-200-2273 or Tracer Pugh at 256-206-7097. BP Riverworks. Licensed and insured, 251-200-2273 or 256-206-7097.
Takes a snap. He's going to fake the pitch. He's at the 20, the 10. He's going to recover. Yeah. Touchdown, James Clemens.
Be listening for James Clemens High School football this coming season as the Jets take on the best in Class 7A competition. You can hear every featured game streamed live online at PASnetwork.net, on your Amazon Echo device by saying, Alexa, open PAS Plus, or on your PAS Plus app, and later on demand. You can also hear the replays Sunday afternoons on WKAC Radio. Join us for exciting coverage of James Clemens Jets football this season from Play Action Sports. Welcome to another edition of the Best of Tailgate Talk. This week we feature previous visits with two legendary college basketball coaches, former Auburn head coach Sonny Smith, followed up by former Alabama coach Wimp Sanderson. We switch gears to baseball and hear from Daniel Levitt, author of Intentional Balk, Baseball's Thin Line Between Innovation and Cheating. After that, we move to football and a conversation with Jim McNally, former coach at Marshall University and also in the NFL. We then move to the running track to hear from former Alabama and Olympic sprinter Calvin Smith. Keep it here. The Best of Tailgate Talk will be right back. P4 Physical Therapy is a new outpatient provider offering community-based care with a unique partnership model that allows them to consistently deliver world-class outpatient care, emphasizing personalized hands-on treatment. Whether it's orthopedic, physical, geriatric, or manual therapy, sports or neuro rehab, telehealth, or most any type of muscle or joint pain, P4 Physical Therapy promises to treat you with integrity, compassion, faithfulness, and selflessness. Locations in Athens, Huntsville, and Winfield, Alabama, as well as Fayetteville and Knoxville, Tennessee. Look for them on Facebook or online at p4physicaltherapy.com. Daly & Son Car Care is Ardmore's only one-stop auto repair and tire shop. Whether it's major mechanic or brake work or routine maintenance like an oil change or lube job, Daly & Son Car Care has been satisfying customers all over with their fast and friendly service. They're also your headquarters for quality Cooper tires. Stop by and see Wayne, Nikki, or Dale at 25600 Main Street in Ardmore, Tennessee, or call them at 931-427-4651. They're on Facebook, too. Daly & Son Car Care, open Monday through Friday, 7:30 till 5, and Saturday, 7:30 till noon.
Home security is not what it used to be. With Secure Connect and smart home integration features, you can unlock your doors and turn off your alarm from your smart home app. No more hiding a key under a rock. Get Secure Connect and live life connected. Call Ardmore Telephone Company at 800-830-9946 to secure your home today.
Limestone Drug, located on the square in downtown Athens, is your local Health Mart pharmacy. As your local Health Mart pharmacy, Limestone Drug is locally owned and has a personal commitment to the community. Limestone Drug honors prescription drug plans, including Medicare. They accept flex spending cards and fill prescriptions in minutes, not hours. Limestone Drug knows there's nothing more important than your family's well-being. So shop Limestone Drug at 200 West Market Street in Athens, your local Health Mart pharmacy. Limestone Drug, caring for you and about you.
Have you noticed bad behavior has become normalized at interscholastic athletic events? Some fans seem angry. They lack civility toward one another. Some even get aggressive and unruly. Time out! What is going on? This has to stop. Let's not forget, school sports aren't just about winning. And they're definitely not an excuse to take your frustrations out on the official or the opponent. They're about teaching lessons like perseverance, respect, and empathy, so students can learn and grow as people, not just as players. We all have a role to play in setting a good example for our students and teaching them these important values. So fans, it's time to step up your game and behave positively at interscholastic athletic events in Alabama.
This message presented by the AHSAA and the Alabama High School Athletic Directors and Coaches Association.
Tune in every Tuesday through Thursday this coming football season for the WKAC Coaches Shows. Join us as we get the scoop from Ardmore, Athens, Clements, East Limestone, Elkmont, James Clemens, Tanner, and West Limestone. The WKAC Coaches Shows on 1080 WKAC. Welcome back to the best of Tailgate Talk on 1080 WKAC.
Former Ardmore Good gravy, Coach. I'm former Auburn coach. Sonny Smith.
Well, I've coached everywhere. I was just checking my resume to see if I was something there.
I wonder if there was one from Roan Mountain or something. Maybe an Ardmore up there. Who knows?
Yeah, Roan Mountain.
Coach, before we get into this, several years ago, you were at the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Race at the Nashville Fairgrounds Speedway, and it rained all day long. You remember that day?
Yeah. Yes, I do.
There were two guys.
Yeah, I love truck racing.
There were two guys there that hung around and pestered you all day, and one of them was this guy that you're talking to right now, Tom, and the other guy was my friend
He's
Kim.
smart. No.
And you took a picture with me and my son when good grief, when Rod was still alive down at the Vanderbilt Coliseum there. Back before Rod passed. So I just want to say thanks for coming to the show, and hopefully you remember me a little bit. And this is who you're talking to this morning.
Yeah, well, it brings more light to the surface. Yes, it does.
Absolutely. I bet you can still tell everybody who won that race.
Well, I cannot remember.
I cannot remember that one.
Okay. Hornaday was running, but I don't think he won.
I think Sprague won. Hornaday was
Sprague. I was a Jack Sprague man back in the day.
Yeah.
And never met him. You know, always in racing, I ended up picking these guys, and then I never met them. And some of them, after doing Race Fever at Talladega for so many years, I got to meet most of them. Some of them that I'd pull for it didn't like after I met them.
That's funny how
but
that
I
is.
like most of them. But Jack Sprague was my favorite back in the old days.
Absolutely, and we all remember you on the Sonny and Wimp show.
Yeah,
I got to ask you one thing. This is funny, and I heard y'all talk about this. It said, everybody buys a suit for a player sometime or another, but the biggest insult was when you bought the guy a suit and he wore the suit to accept honor scholarship from another team.
Oh, to Alabama.
Yes, Alabama. Yes, sir.
I bought Booney Russell a suit, and he went to Alabama while I was fitting him for it.
Oh,
wow. Coach, I've talked enough.
I don't know how much of that's true, but we used to tell it all the time. I bought old Booney a suit, and he went to Alabama wearing it.
What's Coach Sonny Smith doing right now outside of color for Auburn's basketball program?
Well, I do a number of radio shows, not any of my own, but as guests, I do a bunch of those, and that I have fun doing that. And in fact, I did one this morning prior to you guys, and that's a lot of fun for me. And the speaking business that Wimp and I both do, and then some by ourselves, has gone by the wayside because of COVID. But pretty much, I'm instead of being a retard, I'm retired. So I got both things going for me now.
Coach, how do you think the state of the game is now, and back to when you and Wimp coached?
It's so different. It's so different. Recruiting is even so much different than it used to be. It's now. Back, I would say this, and you'd have to analyze it in a lot of different ways. But back in the day, it was a little bit of a coach's game. Now, today's game is a player game. Individual effort and movement and talent decides who's going to win anymore. The court is open. The dribble is the biggest part of the game. The three-point shot is as big or bigger. And the guy you recruit now for guys to get into the middle of the lane and can make a three. And you used to recruit guys who could make 2-point plays, 3-point plays, could post, and do a lot of different things. But now you can pretty much just zone in on a 3-point shooter now, or a guy that can get into the lane. Post playing is kind of a thing of the past. And you post everybody as opposed to posting up a post-up player. And it's a much different game. Takes more talent to play, in individual talent from a standpoint, dribble, pass, catch, and rebound. And it's a lot different. And I would imagine, and I see a few practices. I see a lot of practice actually. The coaching is different too. You coach the dribble, you coach the pass, you coach getting into the lane more so than anything else. The only time you run set plays is on when dead ball situation, on side out of bounds, under the basket out of bounds, and out of timeouts. And that's one of Bruce Pearl's strongest things is out of timeouts. He is really good. I always watch that closely to see what he's going to do the next time out, and he does it well. So the game has changed a lot. And I don't know where it's better or not, but it's a player's game. I will tell you that. It used to be more of a coach's game.
Yeah, I noticed that with Coach Pearl up at Tennessee. He was more of a player's coach. He run the offenses, and he wasn't near as restrictive on some of his players of shooting, taking the three.
Well, I go to his practices early and late. When he first got here, he'd go around to every player and say, you get a 3-point shot, you take it. And I was thinking, my goodness, some of them don't even know where the 3-point line is. and he built their confidence. Every guy he had could step out and take a shot, and it wouldn't bother him.
Yeah.
And, he's a master at instilling confidence in his players. And the 3-point shot's taken over the game, and he's mastered it in a lot of ways. He really has.
Coach, your impressions of Nate Oates?
I think I'll put it this way. You go down through the coaches that you got in the state of Alabama. You can even go to UAB in South Alabama and Troy and a lot of others. I think the basketball coaching at both those schools that we're talking about right now, more so than any, is just at the top of the list. I think Nate Oates is terrific. I think he's got a good style of play for everybody to enjoy, and I just think that basketball in Alabama is. I tell you what, they're both good enough. If there's a real good player in Alabama, one of them's going to get it.
Mm-hmm.
Used to you had to watch out a little bit from going out of state. But they're going to control their recruiting areas. They're going to really coach them when they get them. So I think a lot of those, I really do. And I've never met him, by the way. They say he's a terrific guy with him.
I bet he's looking forward to meeting you as much as you're looking forward to meeting him.
Well, I appreciate that, but I really am. I think he's doing a terrific job there. I used to say that there's 2 or 3 schools in the conference that could recruit themselves. And, I mean, a kid's going to consider Alabama regardless who the coach is and so that type of thing. And I think he's trying to get it back to that type of thing again. And Bruce Burrow is trying to do the same thing at Auburn.
Now, how long have you known Wimp?
Oh, my goodness. As assistant coach, I knew him well. We met on the road and exchanged stories, and we became good friends. Wimp was totally different as assistant coach than he was a head coach. A lot more serious as a head coach, and he certainly was. And he did a terrific job as a head coach there and at Little Rock.
Mm-hmm. So, everybody's waiting on this story. What was it like coaching Charles Barkley?
And I say it more so now than I used to. I didn't know how to coach a superstar. I never had a superstar. And I didn't coach Charles Barkley the way, early in his career, the way he needed to be coached. He quit on me one time, and I learned how to coach him then by getting him back. And by realizing that you don't treat superstars the way you rest the players. The old-time coaching theory was get your players, treat them all the same, coach them up. Well, you don't do that anymore. You coach superstars totally different than you do other players. And I've readily admitted this a number of times. I'm not ashamed of it or anything because it's just the way things are done. You coach superstars different than you do other players. You guys know from playing and being around the old theory about treat them all the same,
mm-hmm.
So that they'll respect you and so they'll respect one another. That's not the way it's done, I don't think. And I needed to learn that earlier. So how to coach a superstar, I may write a book on that sometime.
Coach, did you ever try to...
I didn't know how to do it when I was doing it.
Speaking
Charles Barkley and Bo Jackson at Auburn, same time, fellas.
Yes, sir.
And I think Pat Dye knew how to coach Bo Jackson better than I knew how to coach Barkley. Not that I didn't work him hard, get him in shape, discipline him and all that stuff. It's just he needed to be treated different. And I never had, in my coaching career, I'd never had but one guy that's superstar, and I was assistant then.
I was wondering what...
I had some after that with Chuck Person and others,
yes.
But before that, I'd never had them.
I remember listening as a young fellow listening to the radio. I wasn't too young, high school, I guess, and everybody saying, "Have you heard about Charles Barkley?" So we'd crank out our old AM radio station alarm clock radios that was sitting by our bed to try to find the game somewhere, and Charles rebounding and driving the ball down the floor at his height and. It was just spectacular to listen to the guy and then catch a few games on television.
Sure. We should have given him the ball more. We should have made him more a first choice. But see, I had Chuck Person too.
Yeah.
And I had Chris Morris sitting back there coming in.
Yes, you did.
That was a pretty tough choice. You had to make sure you got all three of them shots. Frank Ford was on that same team, who was the best player in Florida when I got him. So, knowing how to coach the better player, it's not an easy thing. It's a hard thing, and you better buy into it because you got to have one of the better ones to win. You really do. If you remember back in the day of Barkley, you go around a league and you could name a Barkley type, not a Barkley type, but a Barkley talent type on 5 or 6 teams in the league. And I don't know if you can do it today, maybe more so, but I don't test it that way like I did back then.
We'll be back with more of our Tailgate Talk conversation after this.
Limestone Drug, located on the square in downtown Athens, is your local Health Mart pharmacy. As your local Health Mart pharmacy, Limestone Drug is locally owned and has a personal commitment to the community. Limestone Drug honors prescription drug plans, including Medicare. They accept flex spending cards and fill prescriptions in minutes, not hours. Limestone Drug knows there's nothing more important than your family's well-being. So shop Limestone Drug at 200 West Market Street in Athens, your local Health Mart pharmacy. Limestone Drug, caring for you and about you.
To every referee, umpire, and judge in high school sports, we want to say, we see you.
We see everything you do for us that goes unnoticed.
We see the positive role models that you are.
We see the way you get unfairly criticized just for doing your job.
The truth is, we couldn't play without you.
So thank you for investing your time in us.
Thank you for protecting the integrity of the game, no matter what.
We hope you always know how much we appreciate you.
Because without you, this is just recess. It's not really a game.
Thank you for always making it possible for us to play the sports we love.
Want to serve the students in your community? Sign up to become an official in Alabama at highschoolofficials.com.
For screen printing, sign printing, banners, logo design, and more, look no further than That Shirt Printing Place. Located at 709 North Jefferson Street in Athens. Call 256-444-1827. That Shirt Printing Place. Visit them online at thatshirtprintingplacellc.com. Look for them on Facebook too. That Shirt Printing Place. 256-444-1927. That Shirt Printing Place.
School may be out, but you can still enter your nominations for the Applebee's Athlete of the Week over the summer for the upcoming school year. Just go to tailgatetalk.net and fill out the form. While you're there, check out the Tailgate Talk archives and see what you might have missed. That's the Applebee's Neighborhood Athlete of the Week. Enter your nominations today from Applebee's Neighborhood Grill, Tailgate Talk, and 1080 WKAC. We're back now with more of our conversation on the best of Tailgate Talk.
Coach, how much do you miss Rod?
A lot. Rod taught me about radio. I didn't know about radio. I just talked. But Rod taught me when to jump in, how quick to get out, more about, he was very knowledgeable about every team. And the other thing that he made you do is he made you work at it.
Really?
You know, I thought that I was, you know, I don't have to do too much preparation for this. I know everybody. Well, that wasn't all there was to it. And he helped me in that regard. Andy's just as good at that. He really is. And those two learned together. I don't know who taught who, but one of the two taught each other. They taught each other basically, and both of them are excellent. You know, you think about this, fellas. You guys are doing radio. We've had some great basketball announcers in this state. Mm-hmm. Not only here, Alabama, UAB, Gary Sanders at UAB. He's like a legend. And Eli Gold. You remember all the good ones. We've had some. I don't want to start naming because I'll leave somebody out. But they've been some good ones in this state. Well, all over the SEC. Mm-hmm. Really.
Yes, sir.
I remember my favorite. Now, I don't know if you all do that. I guess you do. My favorite announcer years ago was a guy named Lindsey Nelson.
Yep.
Yes, sir.
And you know why? First time I saw him, he had on one of the awfulest looking sport coat. I said, anybody that wear a coat like that, that would be one that go to a rag shake and get up in her own mountain. And it had all those colors, you know.
Yeah.
I thought Lindsey Nelson about the coolest thing I'd ever seen because I was listening to Tennessee back in those days.
Right.
And he'd always wear them during those Cotton Bowl broadcasts too.
Yeah, didn't he? Yeah, you need to have those legends in radio, and I guess they're still building that type of thing. You remember John Ward was big at Tennessee, and the guy at Georgia was one. Say anything. I cannot remember his name to call on your show.
Larry Munson.
Larry Munson. Run, Lindsey, run.
Yeah. You go around the league, you had one of those everywhere.
And we can't forget Jim Fife. Jim Fife
was terrific.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Jim Fife's always coaching. We're playing.
Yeah.
One time, I don't know how funny this is, but it really happened. We're playing, and he's always telling me things I ought to do. And it got down to a real tight game. He was down on the floor. I can't remember the exact team. And I walked over and I said, "Well, you've been coaching all day. What do you want me to do now?" He said, "I got you this far. You get the rest of the way on your own."
Smart.
Five was good, boy. He really was.
And then you had
he had never. I don't think he'd ever seen a football game. He's so far up in Kentucky in the mountain basketball stuff, and he became a great football announcer.
He became a legend, that's for sure.
And then who could forget Joe Dean? Joe Dean, Tom Hammond doing those JP games.
Yeah, Joe Dean. That's a name from the past, isn't it? Joe Dean, Junior and
Senior. Yes, sir.
And I miss Larry Connolly too.
I do a podcast with him. I don't know if you call it a podcast or not. It's a Zoom something. I'm real educated, as you can tell. I do some with him every week, once a week, like on a Wednesday. It's a Zoom thing, and he's still as knowledgeable as ever, and he hasn't changed a lot. He doesn't look like death eating a cookie like me. He still looks good.
Good. I'd often wonder about Larry because I hadn't seen him doing games much anymore and listened to him, whatever. I just wondering how he was doing.
Yeah, he's doing good. His health's good. And we do this thing with Bob Rathman of the Hawks and 2 or 3 SIDs around the league. Chuck Galena does it. Eli Gold does it. We have a bunch of us that get on a Zoom. I think it's on a Wednesday. I can't remember the days of the week anymore. But it's on a Wednesday, and we do it on Zoom, and we have a lot of fun. And Larry still is outgoing and knowledgeable as he ever was.
Wow, that's good.
Coach, do you have any books out or anything that somebody could maybe purchase? And
it's funny that you mention that. My book was supposed to be out this week.
Oh.
Written by Lou Vickery, former Major League pitcher. Lou Vickery got the COVID the day that we supposed to release the book, and he actually was unconscious for a couple of days.
Wow.
And now I talked to him for the first time yesterday, and probably my book's going to come out sometime this week.
Okay.
It's called The Head Game. And, you're supposed to look at that where I had anything in it or not, it's going to be coming out. I don't know the exact date. I think it's an Amazon book. I talk like I don't know what's going on. I talked it off, and they wrote it down, basically what happened. And it will be out sometime this week.
Well, that is great. I'll be definitely looking forward to Amazon and trying
it. If I'd had to spell things, we would have never got it out.
It'd take 3 weeks on spell check. Is that what you're saying?
You're right about that.
Oh, my goodness. Well, guys, any other questions for Coach? Coach, anything you want to add before we end our interview?
No. I hope they'll take a look at our book. It's called The Head Game, and it's coming out, and it's coming out on Amazon. I think there'll be announcements about it. We're going to have book signing and book showing a number of different places. I'm letting somebody else do that.
Okay.
I wrote the book so I could remember who I was, and I think Lou Vickery, who's a former Major League pitcher with the Cardinals and the Yankees, and he wrote the book. He's from Atmore, Alabama, and I needed somebody who could write, and he was a guy. So it's coming out soon, and I think it'll be a good read. It's got some humor in it, and some of it makes sense. Got a lot of Roan Mountain stories in it, I'll tell you that.
That's what I was going to ask. Do you have any Roan Mountain stories in it?
Oh, Lord, yeah. Let's eat up with them. I hate for anybody from Roan Mountain to buy it. They'll hold it against me. Especially a deputy sheriff will. we were bootleggers, and my dad was a deputy sheriff. How's that for a deal?
Hey, well, at least you had the inside on where the popo was going to be.
He wasn't going to catch us. We knew when it was coming.
That's good stuff.
Every night.
Well, I know. Every night they didn't take a break on the weekdays, did they?
No, he didn't.
That's great.
No,
I know.
My dad used to. He wouldn't drink. We sold liquor. They'll tell me you got to go, and he would never drink. There's something about a guy we were bootleggers. Well, on Saturday night he'd take a nip or two, and after he'd taken his bigger nip, as we call it, a little snort.
Yeah.
He would he'd pop himself up against the wall, and my mother and I would sing hymns to him. he got religion every Saturday night. and his favorite song was "Where Could I Go But to the Lord."
I love it.
I don't know if you've heard that old song.
Oh yes, sir. I've led it a time or two.
And we harmonize on it.
That's great. Where could I go? Where could I go? Yes, sir.
Yeah,
I know.
That's it.
Oh, man.
You got it.
Coach Smith, man, it's been a hoot.
You weren't a bootlegger too, were you?
No, sir. I was a Church of Christ song leader. So yeah.
Is that Pepperdine? I worked at a Church of Christ school,
Pepperdine, yeah, out in California. That's right.
Oh, man.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Pat Boone was a big supporter of that.
Okay.
You remember him from Nashville? I think.
Yes, sir. Yeah. Him and Debbie.
Yeah. Red
fellas.
Yes, sir. It show's been a hoot, Coach. I can't say anything but that. It's been a blast.
Appreciate you being on.
You call me anytime. I'm right here.
All right. Thank you, Coach.
Take care, buddy.
Appreciate that.
Thanks.
All right, bye-bye.
Bye-bye. I'm going to have a grin on my face all day long, boys and girls. That was Coach Sonny Smith, former Auburn basketball coach.
Lord.
It's time to take a break. I'm going to go on break, and I'm still going to be grinning when we get back. We'll
Comedy tour coming on.
Now that you've got that new place on the water, BP Riverworks can finish the picture with a boathouse, dock, or seawall. Call Barron Pugh at 251-200-2273 or Tracer Pugh at 256-206-7097. BP Riverworks, licensed and insured, 251-200-2273 or 256-206-7097.
Home security is not what it used to be. With Secure Connect and smart home integration features, you can unlock your doors and turn off your alarm from your smart home app. No more hiding a key under a rock. Get Secure Connect and live life connected. Call Ardmore Telephone Company at 800-830-9946 to secure your home today.
P4 Physical Therapy is a new outpatient provider offering community-based care with a unique partnership model that allows them to consistently deliver world-class outpatient care, emphasizing personalized hands-on treatment. Whether it's orthopedic, physical, geriatric, or manual therapy, sports or neuro rehab, telehealth, or most any type of muscle or joint pain, P4 Physical Therapy promises to treat you with integrity, compassion, faithfulness, and selflessness. Locations in Athens, Huntsville, and Winfield, Alabama, as well as Fayetteville and Knoxville, Tennessee. Look for them on Facebook or online at p4physicaltherapy.com. When things go wrong, State Farm is here to help life go right. And Agent Michael Howell is the one who can help get things back on track. See Michael for your auto, home, life, health, property, and business insurance, and be ready for those unexpected twists that life throws at you. Ask about banking and annuities, too. Call State Farm Agent Michael Howell at 232-5400. Visit him online at michaelhowell.net or go see him at 903 South Clinton Street in Athens. State Farm Agent Michael Howell. There when things go wrong, here to help life go right. Come see all your friends at Applebee's in Athens. 12 minutes guaranteed or it's free Monday through Friday, 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. 7 items to choose from. Can't make it for lunch? Visit them for happy hour, 3 p.m. to 7 p.m. or late night. Half-price appetizers with beverage purchase, 6 appetizers to choose from. Call 233-4430 or order online at Applebee's.com and pick your meal up with Carside to go. Applebee's Neighborhood Grill, Highway 72 in Athens, just off I-65. Eating good in the neighborhood. Keep up with local school, travel, youth, and amateur sports throughout the week with a Play Action Sports Update. Listen weekday mornings at 7:30 and weekday afternoons at 1:30 and 3:30 as we bring you the latest scores, news, and announcements from Limestone County and surrounding communities. That's the Play Action Sports Update 3 times a day, Monday through Friday on 1080 WKAC. You're listening to the best of Tailgate Talk on 1080 WKAC.
We've got one of the most iconic coaches ever to coach at Crimson Tide. Coach Wimp Sanderson is on the line with us. Coach, welcome to Applebee's Tailgate Talk.
Well, thank you. Glad to be on finally.
Me too. We had Coach Smith on, what was that, 2 years ago when we had Coach Sonny on?
Yeah.
Something like that.
Yep. I bet that was thrilling.
Well,
it was fun.
It was fun. Yeah, we had talked about Rome Mountain a little bit.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, the best radio show of all time. Next to maybe Applebee's Tailgate Talk. I mean, I'll throw that in. But.
Speaking of, Coach, that old Coach Wimp Sonny show, are you still playing golf, playing that noodle suck, drive it long and far, suck it right up next to that hole?
It don't suck up very well anymore. It can't get it very far. It won't even get to a tree.
I loved it. You guys are great. But we've got you on the show now, and it's going to be all about Coach Wimp.
Well,
Todd, we're going to turn Todd loose because he said, man, I got to talk to him when I start. Just get out of my way.
No, I didn't say get out of my way. I told him, Coach, I may have to give me a eval, slap me or something. I didn't want to just take over the whole interview. But, I mean, obviously, to me, best basketball coach up there in the top 5 of all time, obviously Alabama, and 21 wins a year for 12 years, and 267, 119 record at Alabama, 352, 177 overall, and just, man, your teams, I mean, the plaid players, the rejection row. We've got a really good friend, Coach Donnie Story, who was in rejection row, and he was a trainer for the football team back in the day, and I would come down there and stay with him, and man, the atmosphere of those games and everything was just phenomenal, dude.
Yeah, we had good players, and we got the interest going pretty good. And when you win, you get a little bit better. And a lot of our players were people that they had known in high school and seen play in high school. And based on all that, they came to the games, and then we got to winning. And when they did, it kind of really gave us a little bit of a home court advantage. It was good.
Coach, how's Barry doing?
Barry's doing okay. Barry had a problem. He had open heart surgery.
Yeah.
And he had 4 bypasses.
Wow. Oh, my goodness. I knew it was surgery. I didn't realize it was that in there.
He's actually done real well. He's gotten a hold of himself, I think, and stayed off some of the red meat and stuff he's been eating.
Yeah.
So I think he's doing good. I think he's going to be okay. We got a doctor to him pretty quickly after they said that it wasn't good at all, so we were able to do that. Yeah.
So is Jim still at Alabama Christian?
No, Scott is at Faulkner, which is now Faulkner, and
cool.
Jim is kind of retired. He's doing a little bit of high school coaching, but they're all 3 doing a little bit of coaching. Well, Barry's at of course, Tuscaloosa Academy, so it's yeah.
Man, it's got to be awesome to have 3 sons following your footsteps and able to do a radio show with one of them, and I mean that's awesome, dude.
Yeah, we've been fortunate to. I didn't know if the show was going to work or not, and we go from 7 to 9 every morning. We've been able to get a lot of good guests, I think, and it's sort of caught on, and it's been pretty good, really.
Yeah, I enjoy listening.
Coach, I really enjoyed the Southern Hopes documentary. Yes. That was real awesome, and
it was good.
And if you don't mind, I know some of these guys might not have seen it. Will you please tell the story about you and Sonny recruiting Robert Ory? That was the funniest thing I ever heard.
Well, I don't know how funny it is to tell it, but it was. They were having a national domino tournament. I mean, I'm not talking about state domino tournament. I'm talking about they came from overseas for domino tournament. It's a national domino tournament. So I felt like I needed to go play and work on Sonny and work on Robert, and I guess Sonny felt the same way. So they went down there and they said, "Well, since y'all are both down here, we're gonna put you in competition with each other." Well, crap, Sonny had Miss Domino. She was real smart. She was a young gal. I had some lady that didn't know a domino from a bass fiddle. We played dominoes. So we got through. Sonny said, "Now the press is going to come to us." He said, "We need to tell the press that we tied." I said, "Bull crap, I ain't telling the press we tied. I'm telling them I beat you naked. I'm going to tell them how bad I did beat you. So I ain't telling them we tied. You can tell them whatever you want to tell them. I'm going to tell them I won. So that was kind of they used to fly Coach Bryant down there for that thing, just for fun. The guy had an airplane, so when he quit doing it, I can't remember if he passed away or not, but I guess he had. So they started flying me down there, and so that's how it kind of got hooked up. And then when Robert came along, everybody was trying to recruit Robert, and Robert was hard to recruit. It was kind of a trying time. We knew we did a good job on his mother. I think his mother's the one that kind of sold him on coming. So
that's awesome. And what a player he was, too.
Yeah, he's a good player.
Speaking of him, I'm sorry, Jay, go ahead.
7 championship NBA rings.
Can't beat that.
Yeah.
You gave me, and your team gave me one of the best memories of my entire life, 1982 SEC tournament, Rupp Arena.
Yeah.
Everybody, all those teams, Georgia, Auburn, Kentucky, Alabama. I mean, there were so many good teams that year. And we ended up beating Kentucky at the buzzer, and
we blew them out 48-46.
Yeah, we had wonderful seats. The parent that took me and some of my buddies down with, on the way up there, we got to choose. Whoever you're rooting for, you get to sit in the better of the seats. Both seats were good. Anyway, we were 2 rows up, right behind y'all.
Oh, really?
And all that crowd was so. Obviously, the guys, that was for the shot clock. That's why it was 48-46. And so, oh, my God, they were so mad that we were, kind of holding the ball, stalling, whatever. And, of course, we're hollering scoreboard or whatever. I don't know what we were hollering. But anyway, my hatred for Kentucky was that on the level of Auburn. No offense, Tom. Love you, but not your team.
None taken.
But anyway, it was such, oh, my God, I can still see it. It happened to be right on our end of the court. When,
well, we had a tie game. We had a tie game at 46-all, and they got a travel, which is very seldom. But I forget the guy's name, but they got a travel call against them,
especially there.
And I called timeout, and I told them to clear out one side and let Enemo take to the basket for a shot, for a layup, I hope.
Yep.
And we did that, and he missed the layup.
Yep, short.
And it came out, and when he did it, Phillips got it and put it back in. They brought it down and called timeout. And so they ended up not getting a great last shot. I forget the Turpin kid.
See, I don't even remember that. In my mind,
the game
that was at the buzzer. That's how freaking excited I was.
They had an opportunity.
So I don't remember that.
Guy, and Turpin got the shot for whatever reason and missed it, and so we won that one. That was a big win to go to Lexington and win for the championship. It's hard to do. We opened up that game with that tournament with Georgia. Georgia was good. We played pretty good. And I saw some things, and I think that we thought that we were going to play Auburn, but it was Auburn and Mississippi State played, and Mississippi State upset Auburn. I think that's right.
I believe you're right. Yeah.
And Bob Boyd was the coach, and he's very good. Yeah. And Bob's passed away, but he was really good, and we ended up playing Mississippi State, beating them, and then playing Kentucky.
10 years later, SEC tournament, Birmingham. Not such a good memory for me. Or y'all. I'm coming back. At the time, I had a University of Alabama personalized tag with Wimp on it. That was my tag. I've sent you a picture of it before. I'm sure you don't remember. But anyway. And so I got honked at, laughed at all the way coming back home from all them Kentucky fans.
We played Kentucky. Yeah, that probably the most memorable game was when we played Arkansas and won the last shot.
Oh my God, it was great.
We were completely worn out. We were dead. And,
well, just emotionally, man. I mean, it was such an emotional and physical game, and that Arkansas team was great.
Draw, we didn't play real well in Birmingham. We had 3 games for the championship there and lost all 3. Ole Miss and Georgia and Kentucky. Yeah.
Coach, one of my favorite games, which it happened during a somber moment when Coach Bryant passed away, but the UCLA game.
Yeah.
And I mean, were y'all still planning on going,
Well, I found out on Wednesday that when they came down, court and said, we're going to announce that Coach Bryant's just passed away. I'd seen Coach Bryant on that Sunday. He came by the office, which he never did before. And so I went to the telephone and called Paul Jr., and Paul Jr. just said, Papa would have wanted you to play. So with that okay, then we went out there on Thursday. And Vital and a bunch of guys were calling the game, and we won the game. I think that was about 2 points as well. But it was a heck of a win to go to UCF. They were number one. Yeah, they were number one in the country, so it was a big win. Yeah.
What was your relationship with Coach Bryant?
Good. I think nobody was close to him. He was the kind of person that's, he kept his ground from you. Even his staff, of course, they were a little bit afraid of him. And I ended up with his office.
I know. I was just fixing to ask you about that, man. I love that.
And, a lot of people would come from north going down to Florida somewhere and want to stop and see his office. But he had a conference room right next to it. He had a restroom in his office, and I put a shower in there. And so it was, it was interesting to just all the furniture now that was there. Is in Alabama sports, in Coach Bryant's Hall of Fame. Interesting thing, they came by the other day and told me they wanted to put a basketball section in Coach Bryant's Hall of Fame, and they wanted one of my plaid sport coats.
Oh, wow.
And so I gave them one and a plaque or two to put in there because they were, I didn't have any idea they were going to do that, but they decided to do that. It won't be a whole lot there because of Coach Bryant, but it'll be I guess a mark of the success that was had when Coach Bryant was the AD.
Yeah, that is awesome.
We've heard some stories about the couch that he had in his office. From
he had a couch. And, those football players would go in there and want to talk to him about getting a marriage scholarship. A lot of them would, or whatever kind of problem they might have with him, and they would sit down on that couch, and when they did, they'd sink all the way to the floor. When you walked towards him, and looked at them and visited with them, it made them, intimidated them and made them uncomfortable. But that was the purpose of. Not wasn't the purpose, but that was what happened, and it was fun.
He used it to his advantage, didn't he?
Absolutely.
Back with more of our Tailgate Talk conversation after this.
From day one, First National Bank has been built on a strong foundation of community first. First to lend a helping hand, first to help with community events and fundraisers, first to support local students, athletic programs, and civic organizations, first to support events like United Way, Relay for Life, and many more charitable events, and most importantly, working for our great community. Without you, there'd be no First National Bank. Making communities great together, that's what we strive for.
Equal housing lender, member FDIC. Daly & Son Car Care is Ardmore's only one-stop auto repair and tire shop. Whether it's major mechanic or brake work or routine maintenance like an oil change or lube job, Daly & Son Car Care has been satisfying customers all over with their fast and friendly service. They're also your headquarters for quality Cooper tires. Stop by and see Wayne, Nikki, or Dale at 25600 Main Street in Ardmore, Tennessee, or call them at 931-427-4651. They're on Facebook, too. Daly & Son Car Care, open Monday through Friday, 7:30 till 5, and Saturday, 7:30 till noon.
Limestone Drug, located on the square in downtown Athens, is your local Health Mart pharmacy. As your local Health Mart pharmacy, Limestone Drug is locally owned and has a personal commitment to the community. Limestone Drug honors prescription drug plans, including Medicare. They accept flex spending cards and fill prescriptions in minutes, not hours. Limestone Drug knows there's nothing more important than your family's well-being. So shop Limestone Drug at 200 West Market Street in Athens, your local Health Mart pharmacy. Limestone Drug, caring for you and about you.
Now that you've got that new place on the water, BP Riverworks can finish the picture with a boathouse, dock, or seawall. Call Barron Pugh at 251-200-2273 or Tracer Pugh at 256-206-7097. BP Riverworks, licensed and insured, 251-200-2273 or 256-206-7097.
Timeout. Remember, we're a team that plays together. Listen, the winning will take care of itself. We just have to get everyone involved.
In interscholastic sports, we celebrate what makes every one of us unique. And in the pursuit of a common goal, everyone in the huddle, in the bleachers, and in the community comes together. This message presented by the AHSAA and the Alabama High School Athletic Directors and Coaches Association.
Takes a snap. He's rolling to his left. He's looking downfield. He's looking in the end zone. Throws a jump ball. It's complete. Touchdown, Golden Eagles.
Join us this coming season for Athens High School football. Greg Young will bring you all the exciting play-by-play online at WKAC1080.com or on your WKAC Sports app. You can also hear it on your Amazon Echo or Google Home device by saying Play WKAC Sports. Listen for the radio replays Saturdays at noon and check out the archives on the WKAC Sports page. Golden Eagle football from 1080 WKAC. We continue with our conversation on the best of Tailgate Talk on 1080 WKAC.
What are your thoughts on and how do you think you would have handled all this transfer portal stuff back in the day?
Not very good.
Yeah, it stinks,
not very good.
I mean, between that and the NIL, man, the shift has changed so much to player-driven versus coach, university, whatever driven.
Well, it hurts you because, after you've worked real hard in recruiting players, if they get into your program and somebody offers more money, you have to re-recruit them. And the second factor is that no player ever thinks he plays enough time.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
And so he goes and says, I'm going to move where I can play more minutes because somebody that doesn't know anything about basketball has said that to him.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think it's hard to re-recruit them. Basketball has gone to a one good team at a year concept. You're not building a program anymore.
No, you're right.
You try to do whoever you can get. For UAB played, and they lose 6 players. They lose their first 5 and a substitute. Yep. I think it is. And so it's you got to hit on the right substitutes that can play, but also that can act right off the court. So this transfer portal is really hard, really difficult, and it's something that you can't really. If you're trying to judge how good teams are going to be or not be the next year, you can't really do that because you don't know how they're going to play. The league in general this year was not as good as it has been. It wasn't as good as it was when I coached in the 80s. From the bottom down, the league wasn't very good. And really about the only really 2 teams in the top that were really good were Alabama and Tennessee.
Yeah.
And outside of that, the other 12. Now it'll change a little bit because you got Oklahoma and Texas coming in pretty soon and have 16 teams. But the scheduling, we played everybody home and home.
Yeah.
See, Alabama didn't even go to Kentucky this year.
That's right.
Although Kentucky wasn't that good, they didn't have to go, and they only played Tennessee one time, and that it's hard to. You have 3 teams that you play every year. Alabama has LSU, Mississippi State, and Auburn. They play them every year. This past season, the 2 teams that added to Alabama were Vanderbilt, which was 2 wins, and Arkansas, which was 2 wins. So those 10 games, I was 16-2, and the one year, and they were 16-2, and we had to go to Louisville to play, and we were a 2 seed, and went to Louisville and got beat, and they went to Louisville and got beat as a 1 seed. So you don't know where you're going, what you're going to do. It's, winning the NCAA tournament is hard because it's a one and done deal. It's not 4 out of 7. You got to play 6 straight nights and play great every night to win it all, and it's hard to do. So. You play poorly one night, the other team plays better than they've been playing, and you're out. People don't understand that.
Yeah, you're right.
One thing that was amazing to me, Coach, is you only had y'all's team had only 1 day to prepare for Loyola, and y'all almost pulled it out. Just talk about because y'all didn't have much of game film or like they got now when you look on computer. How hard was that to come up with?
Well, it was a little bit difficult to decide how to play it. We tried to. We didn't want to hold the ball, but we wanted to be sure that we got good shots and that we made them work defensively. And we weren't playing the game to play a particularly low-scoring game. We were playing it to sort of sort of played at our tempo, and we did most of the time. We shot a couple of bad shots in the game and didn't score down the stretch and got beat 62-60. They'd scored 133 points. And I had talked to a lot of coaches who felt like if you get a man try to run with them, that you're going to think you can run with them, but you can't. So naturally, if you rebound and do, you know, and I wish I hadn't done it that way. Now we got beat, but I felt like it was the best chance to win at that time. And probably that was a misconception on my part. I probably should have just gone and played them. But anyway, that's what I thought. That's what we did.
Yeah. Coach Jay just brought up a dear friend of ours back in the day. We haven't seen him in years, but talk about a little bit about recruiting Keith Askins up here from Athens High School.
Well, I saw Keith play, and Keith was going to win that game in high school. He only had a half scholarship offer to North Alabama, and I saw him play. I think Rick Barnes went with me, the coach at Tennessee, and we looked at him and I liked the way he ran, and I thought he had some future. I thought he was a prospect. I liked him a lot. He's a big person. So I told him that I wanted to visit with him, and I was going to offer a scholarship. So I brought him down and offered him a scholarship. I guess the week he was going to come down for the state tournament, and he did it. He came down for the state tournament. And he played really well. And when I went in there to visit with him, they were lined up. The coaches were to talk to him, but he kept his word that because I'd already offered him a scholarship, and we helped him get the Alabama Sports Hall of Fame the other day.
Yep.
And so he turned out to be one of these guys who we had a few of those who wasn't quite ready to play when we got him, but he was always one of these guys that was willing to play the role that we wanted him to play. Yeah. It might be sixth man. He had a great shooting night the night that we beat Tennessee. The night that we beat Florida at Knoxville.
Yeah.
For the SEC tournament. Yeah. He burned it up, and so he was a guy that we just thought had the potential to win with and play, and turned out that was correct.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I won't say he owes it, but you certainly played a huge role in all of his success leading on to the NBA and then going into the front office and all that.
Yeah, he got he's moved out west now. He has 2 children, and he played for Miami Heat and Pat Riley for a long time, and one of these kind of guys that just played hard and played better and was smart and knew how to play defense and had a great skill level. And then Pat and them hired him to be a scout, so he's been a scout for Miami Heat for a long time. So he's been a Miami Heat guy for a long time.
Yeah, I want to tell you this quick story to it. 1983, I believe it was the summer of '83. Came down there for basketball camp. Had the best time, man. You recruiting, or I don't know if I won't say you were recruiting. I know Coach Smith was recruiting Roy Fletcher at East Limestone pretty hard. I think you were just kind of looking at him. You were looking at me too, obviously, but that's funny. But anyway, I became Coach D's, Benny D's, got direction, so ended up being my coach for that week, and we became buddies, and he just I don't know. I just thought he was a super guy. And when he was at New Orleans and at Wyoming, when he would come to town to play, I could call the universities they were at and say, "Hey, Coach, man, I want to come and see you or hang out." And I would go to the hotel and see him before the game. And he would call me East because I went to East Limestone. And anyway, just talk a little bit about Coach D's.
Benny, I got Benny, David Hobbs left me. I got Benny, and Benny did a good job for me. In fact, Benny came down with some sickness, as some people do. And I talked to occasionally. I talk to his wife on the phone, and I do, and she's on Facebook, and he was a guy that I know that we won the game in Albuquerque against Arizona and VCU, and the New Orleans job came open, and during that period of time, I called them for him, and he was able to, I think, get that. He got that, and I think he went from there to Wyoming. And then from there to East Carolina.
Yep.
And so he did a good job for me. He coached a lot of different places when I got him, and he seemed to be comfortable coaching where I was, and so it was good. Benny was a good person. Yeah, he was.
Yeah.
Coach, before we let you go, I'm glad you mentioned Facebook because I see Wimp Sanderson here on Facebook, and I kind of held off on sending you.
Birthday.
I kind of sent. Oh yes, that birthday. I was like, no, this can't be Wimp Sanderson.
That birthday thing.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know how that got there was my birthday, but I just told him to go ahead and send presents.
Yeah, man.
It wasn't my birthday, but I don't know how it got on there. So I finally found some lady. I was in Chick-fil-A the other day getting something to eat, and there's a lady stopped by, and she wanted to meet me and visit with me. She looked like she was smart. I said, take this phone, get me off this cotton picking thing. I didn't even know her from Adam, and she took it and,
awesome.
Got it off. So.
That's awesome.
Well, and see, I held off on sending you a friend request because I thought, no, this is one of those fake things. But then I saw all these other people.
Yeah,
that you friended up, and I was like, okay, I'm going to take a chance, and I'm glad I did. So that's how we got you on the show.
Yeah, that's good. That's good.
Hey, Coach, I'm going to ask you something real quick. Y'all do your radio show? Are y'all on the phone, or are you at the studio, or does it just depend?
Barry, my son's in the studio. I'm at home.
That's what I thought. Listen, man, I've got some stuff that I've wanted you to sign for 20 freaking years.
Okay.
Are you ever in the studio?
I come to Florence a lot.
Do you? All right. Well, if you don't care,
not a lot, but I come about once a month. So.
Okay. Well, if you don't care, I might reach out to you and see if I can't meet up.
Yeah,
with you,
I come there. I come up there about most of the time once a month. Sometimes I don't get there, but most of the time I do.
I had the biggest box frame back in 2004 when you were coming up here to induct Coach Drake, into the Limestone County Hall of Fame.
Right.
And I was going to get you to sign some of that stuff, and I was going to put it back in the box frame. And your tail took out early, boy. I went out there to get that frame. I was proud. I was going to show it to you. And I said, man, that dude is gone.
Just call me. Just text me or whatever.
Okay.
You got my number, so.
I appreciate it, Coach.
Well, Coach, we appreciate you joining us.
Yeah, glad to do it. You guys have a good day. We should be good games tonight, so we'll see what happens.
Hey,
all right, man.
You have a blessed weekend, and we'll talk to you again down the road.
All right. Appreciate you guys for me. Thank you.
Thank you. Coach. Bye. That was Coach Wimp Sanderson. We're going to take a break. You're listening to Applebee's Tailgate Talk on the Big 1080 WKAC.
Home security is not what it used to be. With Secure Connect and smart home integration features, you can unlock your doors and turn off your alarm from your smart home app. No more hiding a key under a rock. Get Secure Connect and live life connected. Call Ardmore Telephone Company at 800-830-9946 to secure your home today.
What are you doing out there?
Come on!
I saw you at the game the other night. Yeah, you. Up there getting mad, acting like we're all out there making $1 million a game. Well, let me be real with you. This isn't the pros. It's school sports, and it's a game, our game. So please, let us play.
School sports fans, remember, when you cheer for your team, make noise for the right reasons. This message presented by the NFHS and the NIAAA.
And all student athletes in Alabama.
When things go wrong, State Farm is here to help life go right. And Agent Michael Howell is the one who can help get things back on track. See Michael for your auto, home, life, health, property, and business insurance, and be ready for those unexpected twists that life throws at you. Ask about banking and annuities, too. Call State Farm Agent Michael Howell at 232-5400. Visit him online at michaelhowell.net or go see him at 903 South Clinton Street in Athens. State Farm Agent Michael Howell. There when things go wrong, here to help life go right. Now on a platform near you, the only year-round weekly podcast covering the Huntsville Havoc, the Wreakin' Havoc Podcast. News, interviews, and more. Dropping every Thursday, we'll just reek of the Huntsville Havoc. Check us out on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, and listen, follow, and subscribe on your favorite platform via the PAS Plus app and online at wreakinhavoc.com. You're listening to the best of Tailgate Talk on 1080 WKAC.
We have the author of The Intentional Balk, baseball's thin line between innovation and cheating. And I have so many questions about this. Daniel R. Levitt is joining us. We'll just call you Daniel. How about that, sir?
That'd be great.
That'd be great. Welcome to the show, man.
Hey, my pleasure. Good to be here.
Good to be here. Good to have you. Tell everybody about who Daniel Levitt is and how you got started on this intentional balk.
Well, my hobby is writing baseball books on baseball history. And one of the things that Mark, my co-author, and I saw, I mean, there's all this cheating that's been going on over the last several years that people have been writing out, whether it's sticky stuff on the balls or steroids or the sign stealing stuff. And it was all treated very discreetly. And we felt there was a larger context, a larger story about why do we look at this differently now and what's the history of it.
Back in the day, you got caught stealing. I'm 57. You're looking at back in the day, Pete Rose day, those days. You got caught stealing signs. There was a butt whooping coming, either that or a beanball coming, one of the two.
Yeah, there was sort of this consensual ethic that it was wrong, but there was actually no rules against it, which was one of the interesting things that we found in the book, and that it was sort of one of these things that was, you're right, it was sort of enforced, by the players themselves.
Right. So now my question: how can you intentionally balk for an advantage?
He's been talking about that ever since.
The name was really alliterative, right? I mean, It sounds like intentional walk. It sounds kind of interesting. We felt, and the publisher felt, that it gave some interest. What's actually sort of interesting is I don't know that there actually was an intentional balk until recently.
Okay.
And there was somebody on second base, and the pitcher was worried that maybe they were stealing signs from the catcher, so they did an intentional balk. So the runner went from second to third, so they couldn't peek in at the catcher anymore to steal signs.
I gotcha.
So
okay.
That's the only one that's on record. So it's more of the idea around intentional balk is that it's the deception, right? It's illegal because the idea that deceiving the runner that you're going home instead of going to second base, or instead of throwing to the base, you weren't allowed to do that. So the idea that the balk by definition is almost intentional because you're trying to deceive the runner. But to your original question, there aren't too many of them.
Cool. Well, that's good. That eases my mind because I lost sleep over it a little bit, Daniel.
Well, hopefully now you can get to sleep.
Surely I'm not that ignorant of the game. So, but yeah, I can definitely.
We hadn't heard any till recently, which made it actually kind of fun.
Well, and especially and I'll call them out. The Astros was one that's stealing, banging on the garbage cans and stuff like that. So, if you got a guy you think stealing your signs and. Maybe that's not a bad play, especially if you got two outs.
You're right. And what's interesting about the Astros is that part of what, Rob Manfred, the commissioner, really came down with the ruling September 15th of 2017 when he ruled against, when he punished the Red Sox for their sign stealing through the Apple Watch when they were electronically transferring data to a fellow wearing an Apple Watch in the dugout. And so it was September 15th when the ruling came down from Rob Manfred that we're going to punish the Red Sox, and anything that happens after here, I'm drawing a line in the sand, and we're going to punish the manager and the GM. So to a certain degree, before that point, no one really knew how serious it was or how baseball would rule. But after that, if you were still cheating after September 15th, I think there was really sort of changed the nature of how baseball looked at it.
Gotcha.
I just can't imagine how Houston thought all that up, just bang on cans, wear wireless mics and all that under your shirt, especially because Castellanos did that last night after the final out. He pulled the jersey up showing, I ain't got no wire on.
Really?
Yeah. Part of we talked about innovation, and there was really two things that for the sign stealing. One is the fact that in 2014, when we came out with this instant replay, so that you could challenge a call on the field, they put these monitors right by the dugout so that managers could take a look and see, do they want to challenge based on how close the play was? And, what do you think happened? People started looking at those, looking for signs. And then, of course, we had the technology of being able to communicate into the dugout electronically. And so you sort of had these innovations leading to cheating, which is part of what, one of the themes of the book.
You know what I think about when I hear about I think about that scene in the casino where that guy's sitting there and he's got that I don't know, Morse code type thing on his leg and he's typing it. They drag him in there and break his hand with a ball-peen hammer.
Yeah, well, fortunately, that baseball hasn't gone that far yet. So,
but maybe not.
But Daniel, now with the usage of iPads in the dugout, I mean, you can subscribe to the MLB Extra Innings app. You can watch the game on there, and you could still see, you can still get signs out of that. Guys sitting in the dugout watching on the iPad.
I don't think you're allowed to have them connected. I think all those iPads are really just sort of glorified notebooks. I think you're not allowed to have any connected object in the dugout. So I don't know if you guys saw it, but there was a player for the Pirates, a rookie, who slid into third base and his cell phone fell out of his pocket.
Yeah, I remember that.
A couple of months ago, early August. And he was fined, but he wasn't fined for having the cell phone. He was fined for having the cell phone in the dugout because it was a connected device. So you're only allowed to be connected to like certain things that Major League Baseball is sort of allowing. So I don't think you can get the game feed on those iPads in the dugout.
Gotcha. What's some of the high points that you want to bring up about the book here?
Well, I mean, one of the interesting things that we have found is that, first of all, cheating's been going on forever. Baseball first became competitive in the 1850s when you had these club teams around New York playing each other. And as soon as they started playing each other, no matter who won, you had teams illegally stealing players from other teams. Then you had, and the game was supposed to be amateur. And as soon as it mattered who won, you had teams starting to pay players illegally under the table. Those first games, when baseball was first invented, you're supposed to throw the ball underhand, like in cricket or in softball. And players soon started hiking their arms up. The rules would change by 1872. You couldn't have your arm above your waist. Players would be hiking their pants up higher to make their waist higher. So, this is nothing new. Either players or teams trying to get an advantage. And then the other thing is innovation. So modern prison binoculars were first introduced in Germany in 1894, and by 1899, the Phillies of all teams, here we are playing the Astros this year. Yeah. They really had the first sign stealing scheme in 1899, where one of their guys, had a pair of these modern binoculars from Germany, and was out in center field stealing signs. So, it goes back, and it's pretty much any team you could name has some sign stealing, or not signs, some cheating element around it.
And we thought spitballs were bad.
I know, right?
Well, spitballs are interesting too because of the innovation part there. The spider tack, which is the new substance, that was invented by these World's Strongest Man for the World's Strongest Man competitions to carry the big Atlas stones.
Yes.
And the guys who invented it at around 2015, 2016 said, we're getting all these orders for this stuff from the major league clubhouses. What's going on here? So, if there's something that'll work, people will figure it out.
One of my favorite ones is when Joe Negro, that emery board falls out of his back pocket. Where'd that come from?
I know, right?
That is a hilarious YouTube video. That is really funny.
Oh, that came from my manicure before the
There
game.
you go.
Yeah. That is great. Yeah. One story I have, my stepson was batting a few years ago, and they were playing this team, we call it on the mountain, a couple of counties away. Well, the kid had a good swing. He hits a fastball foul into the dugout. Well, the coach comes out. The opposing team's coach comes out. He goes, I want that bat checked. And the umpire looked at him and said, if I'm checking his bat, I'm checking every one of yours. Coach shut up and got back in the dugout.
That's right. That's why they see a lot of managers didn't complain as much as they could have about spitballs because, right, their own pitchers are probably doing it too. So,
yeah.
That's right.
Who was the guy in the Major League, and he'd take some jalapeno, rub it in his nose, put snot on the ball. Hey, whatever you got.
Now, Daniel, what do you think about this new PitchCon thing they have now that, you push a button instead of how they won't steal signs? It just seems like a lot of work to me because everyone in the field just have to wear that monitor or whatever.
Yeah, so I got two. One is I think given the penalties that they have now, I don't think people are going to be stealing signs, right? I mean, part of the issue is that there weren't really any penalties. Nobody had been penalized until the Red Sox in 2017, despite 120 years of sign stealing scandals. So I think part of it is once you put in penalties, people are going to pay attention. The other thing is Max Scherzer, had a great quote where he was talking about the fact that he felt like being able to defend against sign stealing by having complicated signals was an advantage that he had, that was something that a competitive advantage if you could design better signals, and that PitchCom sort of took away that advantage because now anybody could just talk through the signal through the PitchCom. So I thought that was a very interesting take too.
Yeah.
That's great.
You mentioned steroids. To me, and I know a lot of folks are going to disagree with me.
Don't open that door to me.
To me, that's like these guys using the trampolines to do the slam dunk stuff in the halftime shows. Steroids were clearly cheating, and it sort of goes back a little bit to the cost-benefit analysis of this stuff that really is sort of how, in many ways, it gets looked at. In that in the 1990s, it was against the rules, but how you couldn't test, so you had no way of detecting anybody, and even if you did, the penalties were pretty nominal. So how were you going to? You have this thing where it's like, okay, we can get better and stronger and hit better or pitch better, and we won't get caught. And so, I mean, to a certain degree, you had this crazy kind of dynamic going on. And that's part of what still, I think, is ambiguous for us and makes us uncomfortable is that we don't, people have estimated anywhere from, 10 to 40% of the players. We don't know. And we still don't know who might have done it and who did it and what happened. So it's a very, it's not much fun to fool around with that era. Plus all the records are different, from then.
They're tainted as far as I'm concerned.
Daniel, we had the big Pine Tar game, with George Brett.
Oh God, yes.
Well, now you see, like for example, Marcell Ozuna, looks like his Pine Tar is almost to the end of the bat, and they don't say nothing about that no more.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, the umpires, I think there's sort of this, again, consensual ethic that they just ignore a lot of stuff. I mean, the pine tar, I think, originally was to keep the pine tar off the ball. It wasn't because it gave you an advantage to have the pine tar up there. I think the pine tar is mainly to help hold the bat. I don't know that it really hardens the wood and does much. So I think generally they ignore it, kind of like, you ignore when maybe you watch a game, the coaches never stand in the coach's box.
Yeah,
right. The on-deck batter's rarely in the on-deck circle, actually in the on-deck circle. So I don't know. I think it's one of those things that, the umpires just sort of let go now because to enforce it would be more work than it was worth. But I think there's a lot of things like that policing it is more of an effort, and would slow the game down and change things more than just letting it be.
I won't ever forget that Pine Tar game. Billy Martin comes walking out of the dugout. George Brett's in there jumping up and down.
that was pure Billy Martin, right?
It was, wasn't it?
He waited for the perfect moment. I mean, he knew George Brett had too much Pine Tar, but he waited till the 9th inning home run to come out and challenge it. So,
beautiful.
That was
now, Daniel, who's your team? Who do you root for?
I'm up here in Minneapolis. Been here my whole life, so I'm a Twins fan, and it's been a long time since 1991 when we last won a World Series, and it's been a brutal last 10 years as we just seem to keep losing playoff games whenever we get there.
Yeah,
Kirby was the man. Kirby Puckett.
Yeah, he was. Yeah,
and see,
those are some good teams.
And see, I work for the Target Corporation, so I talked to some folks from headquarters, and they said they're ready to see the Twins win some games.
Yeah, they were in first place it's crazy. I mean, they were tied as of something like September 4th this year with the Guardians, and then. The bottom fell out and they, finished like 10 games back. It's crazy.
So Correa, he's filing for free agency again, correct?
Yeah.
So,
their pitching's been hurt. I don't know. I mean, You never know. I'm generally hopeful, but yeah, I'd say it's not looking too good for next year yet.
Because that Central Division is always tough.
Well, this year it was actually theirs for the taking.
Yeah.
But the last couple of months of the season were frustrating.
Yeah.
Dan, you and Mark have some other books that have come out too before this one.
Yeah, we have two books basically on team building and front offices. The first one we did was back in 2003 called Paths to Glory. And then more recently in 2018, we had the paperback come out called In Pursuit of Pennants, which was really a look at front offices, how they were built, how teams were built, some team building strategies. And in many ways, this cheating book also came out of In Pursuit of Pennants because there we're looking at how teams sort of are pushing to the line. What are the most most innovative teams doing, and then we talked about, the Houston Astros had just won the World Series. We talked about how, they were innovative. They were doing all the stuff. They were the new team. And then on our next book, of course, by this time, they've gone over the line with the cheating. So it's sort of like, some of these teams and players, that are innovative and push to the line looking for new ideas, sometimes you go a little too far.
And, the funny thing, with the Braves, that happened with the Braves and with the international kid that they signed in it. Well, this kid now played for our local minor league team, the Rocket City Trash Pandas. How all that happened, how the Angels got him. Now he played here in our local town. So I thought that was kind of neat. This guy's in the midst of all this with the Braves, and now he's playing here in Huntsville where we are.
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, one of the things that we found interesting is that people are much more interested in sort of on-field cheating than they are in the on-field cheating. Like the Braves GM, who was put on the permanently ineligible list, effectively, banned for life for his illegal signing of foreign players, and then they were fine. And yet, I mean, and that was obviously a big story at the time, but it's not like people are still, yelling at the Braves about being cheaters, like they are at the Astros. I mean, it's just interesting the way the perception of people around various sign stealing or around various cheating has different emotional connections.
Yeah.
Well, if it's a game, it's going to be cheated on.
There's going to be cheating, and there's going to be emotions.
Like Bobby Heenan used to say, if you ain't cheating, you ain't winning.
Yeah.
The brain.
Well, there was the great story of the manager Earl Weaver of the Orioles going out to the mound when his pitcher, Ross Grimsley, a pretty good lefty for a long time, was struggling. He said, if you know how to cheat, start now. Exactly.
Earl Weaver and Billy Martin, they were the two top coaches, managers that, they could throw a fit in a heartbeat out there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, those guys, I don't know if there were two more managers that were ever more competitive than those two. I don't know who they were. I mean, they would do anything to win. And
well, Dan, tell us how we can get your book. Hello?
Pardon?
There you are. I said, tell us. Okay. I just heard a click, and I thought, oh, man, we've lost him right here at the end. Tell us how we can get your book.
So it's called Intentional Balk. And we have a website called intentionalbalkbook.com. And if you go to intentionalbalkbook.com, there'll be a link to Amazon. There'll be a link to Barnes & Noble. And there'll be a link to a website that'll let you buy it from your local bookstore as well. So, yeah, obviously go to any of the usual outlets, or feel free to go and take a look at our website.
That's great. Well, thank you so much, bud. We appreciate you joining us, Daniel.
We appreciate it, Dan.
And
my pleasure. You guys had a lot of great questions, and I loved you guys had the right stories there. You know the stories, so that was fun. Thank you.
We're old, and we love the game.
Yeah. It's funny. No matter how much cheating there is, it sort of just makes you love the game more.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
It's all great.
Yep. Well, thanks a lot for joining us, man. Good luck with your book, and come back and talk to us again one day.
My pleasure. Thank you, guys.
All right. Thank you, bud.
Thanks, sir.
Ladies and gentlemen, Daniel R. Levitt is the author of the book Intentional Balk on the special guest segment sponsored by Yellowhammer Roofing. It's time to take a break. You're listening to Applebee's Tailgate Talk on WKAC, the Big 1080.
From day one, First National Bank has been built on a strong foundation of community first. First to lend a helping hand, first to help with community events and fundraisers, first to support local students, athletic programs, and civic organizations, first to support events like United Way, Relay for Life, and many more charitable events, and most importantly, working for our great community. Without you, there'd be no First National Bank. Making communities great together, that's what we strive for.
Equal housing lender, member FDIC. Daly & Son Car Care is Ardmore's only one-stop auto repair and tire shop. Whether it's major mechanic or brake work or routine maintenance like an oil change or lube job, Daly & Son Car Care has been satisfying customers all over with their fast and friendly service. They're also your headquarters for quality Cooper tires. Stop by and see Wayne, Nikki, or Dale at 25600 Main Street in Ardmore, Tennessee, or call them at 931-427-4651. They're on Facebook, too. Daly & Son Car Care, open Monday through Friday, 7:30 till 5, and Saturday, 7:30 till noon. P4 Physical Therapy is a new outpatient provider offering community-based care with a unique partnership model that allows them to consistently deliver world-class outpatient care, emphasizing personalized hands-on treatment. Whether it's orthopedic, physical, geriatric, or manual therapy, sports or neuro rehab, telehealth, or most any type of muscle or joint pain, P4 Physical Therapy promises to treat you with integrity, compassion, faithfulness, and selflessness. Locations in Athens, Huntsville, and Winfield, Alabama, as well as Fayetteville and Knoxville, Tennessee. Look for them on Facebook or online at p4physicaltherapy.com.
From day one, First National Bank has been built on a strong foundation of community first. First to lend a helping hand, first to help with community events and fundraisers, first to support local students, athletic programs, and civic organizations, first to support events like United Way, Relay for Life, and many more charitable events, and most importantly, working for our great community. Without you, there'd be no First National Bank. Making communities great together, that's what we strive for.
Equal housing lender, member FDIC. School may be out, but you can still enter your nominations for the Applebee's Athlete of the Week over the summer for the upcoming school year. Just go to tailgatetalk.net and fill out the form. While you're there, check out the Tailgate Talk archives and see what you might have missed. That's the Applebee's Neighborhood Athlete of the Week. Enter your nominations today from Applebee's Neighborhood Grill, Tailgate Talk, and 1080 WKAC. Welcome back to the best of Tailgate Talk on 1080 WKAC.
Coach James McNally, and we said from former assistant at Marshall after the plane crash. It worked with Buffalo and several countless others as offensive consultant is the word I'm looking for. Coach, welcome to the show.
Oh yeah, thank you very much. Yeah, I coached at 4 colleges and 8 NFL teams. So I'm retired now, but I still I'm a consultant. So yeah, glad to be on.
Yeah. So Coach, did you also do you continue with? I know one time you had a camp. Are you still doing that at all?
I was doing a lot of camps here. I live in Buffalo, New York, and we were doing some summer camps, and then I was doing some winter camps, once a week. And I may continue to do some of these next season, but they're pretty much locally here. But I did do a number of camps for Football University and a few of those other camps back in the day. We used to do some in Connecticut, so yeah, I am involved.
Okay. So let me ask you this real quick before we move on to football stuff. Out of all the places you've coached, you've obviously, been around different parts of the United States. And unless you have family and friends in Buffalo, and not that Buffalo's a bad city, it's not, but it is stinking cold in Buffalo.
A lot of snow.
Yeah. Why did you choose Buffalo as retirement?
Well, I was born, believe it or not, I was born and raised in Buffalo. I went to high school here. I spent 10 years at the University of Buffalo here in the Mid-American. And then I left for 35 years. I went to Marshall. I went to Boston College. I went to Wake Forest. And then I went to the Bengals. I went to the Panthers. I went to the Giants. But then I came back home to the Buffalo Bills. So I came full circle back home to where I was born and raised. So even though the weather's bad in the winter, it's my home. Wow. So that's pretty much it.
And I got to say, I've been to Buffalo many times back when Dunlop was when we were with Dunlop instead of Goodyear. But I actually got to play golf in Buffalo in the fall.
before the snows got there and the foliage was just absolutely gorgeous up there.
Oh my God, people love it. People love it here. And the only reason they leave is because of the winter, and the winter starts about now. We had a little snow, and then probably in April, it gets kind of normal. But the people love Western New York. I mean, they are crazy about the Buffalo Bills, the Buffalo Sabres.
Oh, Sabres, absolutely. Yes, sir.
Oh, and the same guy owns both teams. The same billionaire owns both of those franchises. But anyway, so that's why. But even though I have 2 daughters in Cincinnati because I was with the Bengals for 15 years, and I got a son in New York, but I make Buffalo my home.
Awesome. Well, I tell you, I was there on a Friday, and this has nothing to do with football. Again, sorry, guys, I went in the ditch.
We do that quite frequently, Jim.
Yeah, sorry, Coach. Best fish and chips I've ever eaten. They brought out a fillet of cod that was laying off each end of the plate, man.
Nice.
I was like, I got to come back here again one day for fish and chips on a Friday.
Well, they say that they invented chicken wings here. I don't know if they did. Then they got beef on wick. It's supposed to be a big deal they got here.
Beef on wick.
Beef on on that roll that's got those little seeds in them. But so I'm not sure about all that. But it's good.
I'm on blood pressure meds, so I have to stay away from the wick. Too much salt.
Yeah. But where are you guys located? Are you in Alabama, Louisiana, Tennessee? Where are you guys at?
We're in North Alabama in a little town called Athens, just west of Huntsville.
Okay. Well, you got a big game coming up today, 3:30.
Well, Tom is the one lonely only Auburn fan out of the bunch. The rest of us are Alabama fans, so yes, we do have a big game coming up.
Yeah, well, it's a big game. Whoever loses, the other side's going to kill themselves, but at least the fans will. But so anyway, okay, great. Here I am for you.
Yeah, absolutely.
So you talked about you're staying at different colleges and different pro teams, and obviously being at the Bills was I would think maybe a highlight just because, like you said, you kind of came full circle back home. But was there one more so job that you enjoyed? I'm sure the Marshall job was incredible.
I was with the Bengals for 15 years, and I still am a consultant with them. Even our records, we got a perfect record now, 0-8. But I'm retired. But I was with the Bengals from 1980 through 94, 93. I was there 15 years.
Wow.
So I was with that group with Anthony Munoz and Boomer Esiason and Ickey Woods, James Brooks from Auburn.
Yes, sir.
And we had some great teams. Went to 2 Super Bowls. Yeah, so, I mean, that was a great experience. I was with the New York Giants, and in the second year I was there, we went to the Super Bowl. And that was a great experience. The Mara family, big-time people. But I'll tell you what, I was at the Carolina Panthers in our second year expansion team. We went to the championship game. We lost to Green Bay to go to the Super Bowl, but that was quite an experience. That expansion team in the second year going to the championship.
That was a big deal.
So, yeah, absolutely. So anyway, but again, the Marshall thing was big because the whole 75 were killed, and there was like 4 doctors on the plane, and many community people. Everybody but the freshman team and a few injured guys were killed. So going to that place for 4 years was an unbelievable experience. So if you ever watch that movie, We Are Marshall, I am in or somebody playing these. They say, Coach McNally, get over here, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
The guy playing me 6'7", and I'm 5'9". So
that's good. Casting.
Yeah, I watched that movie the other night just to kind of refresh myself, and I was like, okay, that's supposed to be him, but he doesn't look like he doesn't look like him. But
absolutely.
And there was one. Of course, movies are known to, take liberties with the facts.
Yeah,
sometimes.
There's a little too much Hollywood in the middle of it, but yes, it was fairly good. It covered the basics, but it was the team played East Carolina in Greenville, North Carolina. They flew back to Huntington, West Virginia. It was a rainy night. The plane hit the top of a mountain. I don't know the exact logistics, and it turned over and bang. And the whole team, like I said, everybody on that plane, 75 were killed. And the biggest disaster ever in sports.
Yeah.
Whatever. But, it took them, I was there for 4 years, and I think it took them another 8 or 9 years to get the program where they started winning.
Yeah.
So it was quite an experience, really.
Well, so how hard was it for y'all as a staff? Obviously, coming together, y'all had never worked together, and then now you have to go out and recruit not just one or two athletes. You got to recruit an entire team.
Well, the other thing was there were 3 coaches that weren't on the plane, and they drove from Huntington to Greenville because they were scouting the night before, like on a Friday night at the high school, and then they would come to the game the next day. And then I've changed the subject here a little bit, but the interesting story is about Red Dawson. Okay, Red Dawson was one of the fellows that flew with the team, but he drove back with, and he gave his seat to one of the older coaches, and he was not killed, and he continued to coach with us. So that's quite a story if you watch that movie again. That We Are Marshall movie, a lot of it's about Red Dawson, who was a part of the coaching staff that was killed, but he was not. But so there were 3 coaches that were on the staff that lived and worked with us. But anyway, what we're able to do is we had a freshman team, and none of those freshmen were on the plane. So we had the freshman team, but then the next year we one of the basketball players came out for the team. One of the guys that was on the track team came out for the team, and they allowed us to play freshmen. So the freshmen, and I think that's the first time that freshmen were eligible. So that would have been the season of 1971, and that's because of Marshall. I believe we were the team that got that rule. Yeah, absolutely.
Makes
sense. Yeah. So then again, the anniversary of that is November 14th. So wherever you guys are, if you could put something out there, this November the 14th, that's the date of that crash.
We'll be back with more of our Tailgate Talk conversation after this. If your place on the water needs some attention, call BP Riverworks. Boathouses, docks, seawalls, and repairs. Call Baron Pugh at 251-200-2273 or Tracer Pugh at 256-206-7097. BP Riverworks. Licensed and insured 251-200-2273 or 256-206-7097.
For screen printing, sign printing, banners, logo design, and more, look no further than That Shirt Printing Place. Located at 709 North Jefferson Street in Athens. Call 256-444-1827. That Shirt Printing Place. Visit them online at thatshirtprintingplacellc.com. Look for them on Facebook too. That Shirt Printing Place. 256-444-1927. That Shirt Printing Place.
Come see all your friends at Applebee's in Athens. 12 minutes guaranteed or it's free Monday through Friday, 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. 7 items to choose from. Can't make it for lunch? Visit them for happy hour, 3 p.m. to 7 p.m. or late night. Half-price appetizers with beverage purchase, 6 appetizers to choose from. Call 233-4430 or order online at Applebee's.com and pick your meal up with Carside to Go. Applebee's Neighborhood Grill, Highway 72 in Athens, just off I-65. Eating good in the neighborhood. The Bama Zach Memorial Scholarship has been set up to honor the legacy of Bama Zach Green, a huge fan of the Crimson Tide, along with Limestone County sports. The scholarship will go each year to a male and female athlete from Limestone County. Checks should be made out to Bama Zach Memorial Scholarship and can be sent in care of Garth Garris, 13833 Pinnacle Drive, Athens, Alabama, 35613. Donations can also be made in person at First State Bank of the South at 1319 Highway 72 East in Athens. Thank you for showing your support for local athletes by giving to the Bama Zach Memorial Scholarship.
You guys just didn't want it bad enough. That should have been an easy win. What were you doing out there? You got to hustle. You could have made that play if you'd been open.
On the car ride home after the game, when you think you're helping by telling me what I did wrong and what I need to work on, all I hear is that I'm not good enough, that I'm supposed to be perfect, that it's not okay to lose. On the car ride home, all I need to hear is how much you love me and enjoy watching me play. That my worth isn't determined by my performance. That even on my worst day, I am worthy. That you see me learning, growing, and doing my best. And that is enough.
This message presented by the AHSAA and the Alabama High School Athletic Directors and Coaches Association.
Tune in every Tuesday through Thursday this coming football season for the WKAC Coaches Shows. Join us as we get the scoop from Ardmore, Athens, Clements, East Limestone, Elkmont, James Clemens, Tanner, and West Limestone. The WKAC Coaches Shows on 1080 WKAC. We're back now with more of our conversation on the best of Tailgate Talk.
One of the interesting things that I had forgotten, because I had seen this movie several years ago, but then one thing that reminded me, or that I had forgotten about, did Bobby Bowden actually hand the beer over?
Yes. Here's what Bobby, well, because I was there. I mean, the head coach, all of our coaches that were hired at that time, the new coaches, the old coaches, whatever, I think it was just our offensive staff. I think we went to West Virginia, and Bobby Bowden opened up his office to us, gave us all the film, and he was. We weren't playing West Virginia at that time.
Yeah,
but absolutely, that is the exact truth that Bobby Bowden gave us all the information on the veer.
Wow,
that's cool. Very cool. Going back, so college and the NFL, you've done them both. Done them both very well at high level. What about a preference in that? Did you enjoy one game over the other? I know. Just talking about the coaching aspect,
Well, I would think that my early years in the NFL, which were with the Bengals, the players stayed together for a longer period of time. I think I had the same offensive line, minimum 6-7 years. And nowadays, the players change. The players nowadays, and it's not their fault, I don't think they really associate with the team they're playing with. I mean, they play hard on Sunday and all this. Unless it's the franchise quarterback that's going to be there forever, then I think the players are concerned about their own, their job and their salary and their future. But I don't think there's the identification with the local team like there was back, 20 years ago. That's the big thing I see. And then nowadays, you can't really develop your own guys generally because you're always getting new guys. Somebody's going to, a guy gets hurt, he quits, or you get new free agents. So it's hard to necessarily put your system in and develop your players the way you want them to develop them because there's always changes. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So the teams that can keep the coaches and the players together the longest seem to be the ones that are going to do the best.
Well, speaking of which and keeping teams together, what do you think about the new college transfer portal and how players are?
I think it's I hate it. I say hate it. Well, here's where it's good. Okay, it's good for the kid that might be a second stringer at a school like Alabama or LSU or one of those big time schools, or they may have somebody that's better than him, and he has one more year to play, and he goes somewhere else where the new college or team can play him. That's good for that kid. Where it's not good, it's 50-50. Where it's not good is a good player from a school that school's counting on him, and maybe the school is a school like a smaller, not a real big school. Some of the schools like in Alabama, South Alabama, or whatever, University of Alabama, Birmingham, or whatever that is. And they go to Alabama. Well, that's an improvement for that kid because he wants to be on a bigger program. But then that smaller program lost a good player. So it all started with the NCAA, I believe. You got 5 years to play 4 years of football.
Yeah. Yep.
And if you graduate from a school before those 5 years, you can go to another school and play immediately. So,
and I like that. That part's fine, but just because, hey, I thought I was going to be a starter, and now I'm sitting on the bench, I don't know. And then you get a transfer.
I don't know. Well, what happens, here's the worst thing. Because University of Buffalo, Mid-American, my college, we had a good quarterback last year, Tyree Jackson. I think he's in the new league now. 6'7" guy.
Yeah.
He came out early in the draft, and I don't know why he came out early, but he didn't get drafted, and he got a free agent contract with the Bills, and then they cut him after the preseason, and he should have stayed his last year. Yeah. So I don't know some of these guys. Now, if you were true superstar, and what they're worried about is that They don't want to get hurt in their last year, and if they can go pro and make a lot of money, who knows? I mean, basketball is worse.
Yes.
But I mean, this is what sports are now. I do a lot of these camps with little kids, little league kids, and high school kids, and all they're thinking about is their highlight film, YouTube. Is their highlight film go on? I mean, I don't know how much they really care about enjoying their high school career. Or their college career, they want to know what the next step is. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
and
that's a great point.
It's kind of selfish of them, but I mean, I think that's the way the world is. With all these iPhones, iPads. Everybody's got an agent, or everybody's got somebody advising them. So I don't know.
Absolute truth.
They truly say the good old days have passed us by.
Well, speaking of good old days, I've got to ask if you know a mutual friend that I knew when my son was playing high school, and that is Coach Bill Arnsparger. Did you ever work with Coach Arns?
No, I did not. I've met him, back in the day, because he was a defensive guru, with the Dolphins, and he was the head coach at LSU. But I had met him, and I think he may have known who I was. I was a young coach, and he was a little older. But no, I know of him, and I know of his reputation.
Well, my son's senior year in high school, his son David was hired as coach at my son's high school, and so I got to sit beside the legendary Bill Arnsparger every home game my son's senior year. So it was an awe just to sit there and talk to Coach Arns and get his defensive philosophy ideas, and it was great.
Oh, yeah, well, like I say, there's a lot of, back in the day when you had all those great coaches that are, they're not with us anymore, we didn't have all the sophisticated digital. I mean, now you wouldn't believe what they can do on college and pro. They can take every play, and somebody's got to write it down and take it off the video, but they can take everything, they put it in the computer and put it here. You can take every play on the left hash from the 5-yard line going into score when you're in this defensive personnel and the defense is in this defense. It's paralysis of the analysis, and
that's a great
gone
term.
Crazy. It's gone crazy.
And then since you brought that point up, and you're a legendary coach yourself, how much do you really think that would have helped you 20 years ago? I would say probably not much, if any. I mean, the game is not that much better. Athletes are, but the game has not changed that much as far as.
Well, what's happened is the game is more complicated, whether that's good or bad. Back in the day, we used to have the same 11 guys playing on offense and defense. Now there's such. I mean, back in 20 years ago, I mean, there was. You had a fullback, a halfback, you had a tight end, and you had 2 receivers, okay? Now they've got 5 wide receivers on one play, 3 tight ends on another play, no running backs. I mean, and then the defense does the same thing. They have to put more defense. So really the game has become more sophisticated. It's a little more complicated. It does take a lot of hard work to study it. And, an old-time coach, I mean, like I'm an old coach. I'm 75 years old. But if I didn't stay up on it, I'd be lost. Yeah. I mean, so some of these coaches that are retired and a little older and say, I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, they were great coaches in their day, but now if those guys didn't stay up on it or don't stay up on it now, they'll get totally lost. Yeah, I mean, it's complicated. Like the pass protections and how to pick up all the blitzes and who to throw the ball to. It's a pain in the fanny. So, it's still a personnel game. The better players are, but what the coaches have done with the strategy is just, it's made it complicated. Back in the day, you didn't have to be a rocket scientist to be a coach. Now, when they say, well, you don't have to be a rocket scientist, I think maybe sometimes you do.
Yeah. Or at least a computer engineer, one of the two.
One of the two.
Well, yeah.
Coach, thank you so much for your time today. It's been an honor speaking with you, and hope to have you back on the show one time.
Yeah.
Okay, buddy. Good to see you.
Thank you so much, Coach.
Bye-bye.
Okay, you're welcome. Bye.
That was Coach Jim McNally.
That was awesome.
It was awesome. I love talking to these coaches that was back in the day. Okay, I've said enough. It's time to take a quick break. Y'all hang around.
Come see all your friends at Applebee's in Athens. 12 minutes guaranteed or it's free Monday through Friday, 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. 7 items to choose from. Can't make it for lunch? Visit them for happy hour, 3 p.m. to 7 p.m. or late night. Half-price appetizers with beverage purchase, 6 appetizers to choose from. Call 233-4430 or order online at Applebee's.com and pick your meal up with Carside to Go. Applebee's Neighborhood Grill, Highway 72 in Athens, just off I-65. Eating good in the neighborhood.
From day one, First National Bank has been built on a strong foundation of community first. First to lend a helping hand, first to help with community events and fundraisers, first to support local students, athletic programs, and civic organizations, first to support events like United Way, Relay for Life, and many more charitable events, and most importantly, working for our great community. Without you, there'd be no First National Bank. Making communities great together, that's what we strive for.
Equal housing lender, member FDIC. When things go wrong, State Farm is here to help life go right. And Agent Michael Howell is the one who can help get things back on track. See Michael for your auto, home, life, health, property, and business insurance, and be ready for those unexpected twists that life throws at you. Ask about banking and annuities, too. Call State Farm Agent Michael Howell at 232-5400. Visit him online at michaelhowell.net or go see him at 903 South Clinton Street in Athens. State Farm Agent Michael Howell. There when things go wrong, here to help life go right.
Timeout. All right. Remember, we're a team that plays together. Listen, the winning will take care of itself. We just have to get everyone involved.
In interscholastic sports, we celebrate what makes every one of us unique. And in the pursuit of a common goal, everyone in the huddle, in the bleachers, and in the community comes together. This message presented by the AHSAA and the Alabama High School Athletic Directors and Coaches Association.
Bring the man in motion across the line of scrimmage. They give it to him on the sweep play. He's outside, got a little bit of room now. Down the sideline, cuts it back. He's angling for the end zone, and he will score. Wow. Touchdown.
Join us this football season for Limestone County football, streamed right to your computer or mobile device on the Play Action Sports app. You can also hear it on your Amazon Echo by saying, Alexa, open Play Action Sports. Listen for the replay of select games Sunday afternoons on WKAC and download each game from the archives anytime you want. Limestone County football from Play Action Sports and 1080 WKAC. You're listening to the best of Tailgate Talk on 1080 WKAC.
What an honor we have on the telephone here on the Applebee's hotline. Former gold medal winner, 1984 4x100 meter relay. Born in Bolton, Mississippi, ran for the Crimson Tide.
Roll Tide.
Yeah, Bama Zach saying Roll Tide.
I said Roll Tide now. They can hear me.
Calvin Smith, welcome to Applebee's Tailgate Talk, sir.
Well, thank you. Glad to be on air with you.
That's good. Obviously, the Olympics are going right now. I mean, do you watch these Olympic sprinters and remember back to the days when you spent all of your training, and or do you watch it now more as a
spectator?
Spectator, fan. That's the word I'm looking for.
Well, it's as a spectator, but watching the Olympics brings back a lot of the great memories when I ran in the Olympics in '84 and '88. So I just bring back the memories of being on the team and being on the podium and the great feeling that one have for one as being on a team, and then to receive a medal and stuff like that, being on the podium, just bring back great memories of those great days.
Well, speaking of memories, I'm going to bring one up to you here. Everybody knows about this. 1988 in Seoul, Ben Johnson wins the gold. Carl Lewis is second. Linford Christie is third, and you're fourth. And you're the only one that tested negatively. Man, that's you should have been the goal, my friend. Should have been the goal.
Yep. Yes, it should have been the goal. Unfortunately, during that time, I just had an organization, which I don't think much has changed since that time, is that they are, covering up stuff instead of making the Olympics a drug-free Olympics. And, I wish that they had done the right thing, but unfortunately they didn't do the right thing.
one thing I was going to ask, and you're right, Calvin. It still seemed to be a lot of negative test results that get, like you said, kind of covered up and pushed under.
Especially the Russian team this year.
Russians, yeah. They shouldn't even been allowed
the
to
whole
compete
team
at all.
was gone.
I know most of them didn't, but a lot of them did. But one question that I wanted to ask that I was always kind of I thought was interesting was, so obviously, you're part of a team, right? But you're doing individual events. So when you're in those individual events and you're running against your teammates, what does that feel like? Because obviously, I guess, they're happy for you if you win and vice versa. But at the same time, you're wanting to beat them just like you're wanting to beat, the Russians or the, Jamaicans or whoever you're running against, right?
Yes. In many cases, you are friends, with your teammates, but, you have run against them in many competitions throughout the year and stuff. But, we all know that we are there for the same reason, is to try to win the gold medal. So once we line up, we're just out to do the best that we can. And if that's our particular day that we are, number one or two or whatever, then, we're just happy for ourselves. But we also are happy for, our teammates, that they will run well as well.
Yeah.
And, there's no hard feelings because we're all there to enjoy the Olympics and to go after the gold medal.
That's great.
Yeah, for those who don't realize, Calvin, you, in August of '83, I'm pulling our Mark White's Google resource here. You were the first athlete to run under 10 seconds, 9:97 for 100 meters, and under 20 seconds for the 200 in Zurich, Switzerland.
Correct.
Dude.
Yeah.
Okay, that's the first time I brought dude out. Dude.
That's dude worthy.
That's flying right there, man.
Yes. That was during the prime of my time of running, and it's just that Zurich had such a great atmosphere there in Zurich, Switzerland, at that particular meet, and things just fell together. And I ran the 100 and the 200, and I was just pumped and ready to go. And it just turned out to be one of the greatest meets for me. And I'm just happy that it was something that I was the first to do, and that I just felt great about it.
That is awesome. So you're Tom mentioned you're from Bolton, Mississippi, and then so here's this young guy from Bolton, Mississippi, who ends up getting to travel the world, and running all these great international events, and then years later, your son Calvin also follows in your footsteps, and so I want to know how old he was, or how old you were when he was able to first start beating Dad in a race.
Well, I was very proud of him. I coached him in high school, and he started out as a sprinter, 100 and 200 meter runner. But his senior year, I sat him down and said, "Look, the 100 and 200 is not your event. The 400 is your event. You need to get a scholarship to go somewhere. So Daddy don't have to pay your way to college."
There you go.
So we changed his event because he had run on the relay and stuff,
right.
And I saw that potential. And so we changed his race to the 400 meters, and from there he just took off and started succeeding and running, really well in the 400. And he was able to make the Olympic team and everything. So I'm just very proud of him for what he has done, and hopefully he will continue to keep things up.
Yeah. And that's a great story, for him to be able to follow in your footsteps, and y'all have that, together. So,
well, speaking of great stories, I think you've got a book out.
Yes, I just a few months ago published a book called "It Should Have Been Gold." It can be purchased on Amazon, but it talks about the things that went on in track and field, especially about 1988, how the governing body of track and field, as well as the Olympics, how they cover up all the people that was on drugs and stuff. So it just gives my insight on things that went on and the truth about the sport of track and field. Because unfortunately, the American public don't know everything as far as what goes on in track and field. They just see athletes out there thinking that they are clean because the Olympic Committee and everyone say they're clean, but they hide many things. And we have many athletes out there on drugs, and the American public needs to know those things.
And also the parents when their children try to bring it to, because it happens even in high school football. So we have to go, but before I let you go, Calvin, got one question for you. Did you ever race against Bo Jackson?
Yes, I did. All right. I raced against him when I was at Alabama.
All right.
That's awesome.
Yes.
And all my guys are going to know, how did it turn out? Did you beat him every time, or was Bo pretty competitive?
It's been a long time, but I think I beat him.
Roll Tide.
I'm sure I pretty did.
That's good. Thank you so much for joining us here on Applebee's Tailgate Talk. Ladies and gentlemen.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, you're welcome.
Thank you, Kevin. Gold medal winner, Calvin Smith. You've been listening to Applebee's Tailgate Talk.
You've been listening to the best of Tailgate Talk. You can hear the archive of this and other shows online at tailgatetalk.net. Join us next Saturday at 10 a.m. Applebee's Tailgate Talk is a production of Play Action Sports on 1080 WKAC.